An historic achievement for the National University of Singapore. It's among the top 10 universities in the world, according to the 2024 edition of the QS Quacquarelli-Symonds World University Ranking. It's also the first Asian institution to achieve this standard. NUS is now in 8th place. This year's ranking introduced 3 new metrics. They are sustainability, international research networks, and employment after graduation. NUS ranked 7th globally in producing graduates sought after by employers. Meanwhile, MIT has held on to its #1 placing for the 12th straight year, the University of Cambridge retaining its 2nd place, while the University of Oxford climbing up 1 spot to get #3. Let's find out more from Ben Sauter, Senior Vice President at the QS World University Rankings. He joins us from Dublin, Ireland. Mr. Sauter, 3 new metrics we just heard have been introduced, and Singapore doing particularly well in one of them. In which areas did NUS do well this time to help it break into the top 10?
Well, good evening. And jumping straight to the answer, Singaporean universities are doing a fantastic job of preparing their students for work. Employers have been recognising that for some time through our employer reputation survey. And this year, the additional metric that looks at a combination of employment rate and the achievements of alumni has strengthened that perception and given NUS in particular an extra edge in this year's ranking.
Mr. Sauter, you mentioned the changes that were made to the ranking. Why were those changes made, though?
Well, this is the 20th edition of the QS World University Rankings. We began back in 2004, when the world of data, particularly in higher education, was a wildly different place. We've been consistently vigilant for new opportunities to broaden the metrics that we offer. And as we run forward into the future, there are emerging priorities that stakeholders around the world have been talking to us about, in particular prospective students who increasingly are focused on their employment opportunities when they come out of university and the sustainability credentials of the brands they associate themselves with. A degree from a university is a brand that stays with you for life. So universities have no choice but to respond to sustainability challenges and to carry the torch for some of these forward. And they need to do that together. So that collaboration metric, looking at how universities are working together around the world, is critically important in solving some of those big problems that the world faces.
You have mentioned in your first answer, in fact, breaking down this employment after graduation into not just employment rate, but also the achievements of alumni from specific universities. But you also have enhanced employer reputation as an indicator on this measure. What exactly is this? How do you measure it?
So QS conducts the world's largest survey of international employers. In the region of 100,000 employer responses have been gathered and deduplicated over a 5-year period. And institutions in Singapore, both NUS and NTU, do well in this indicator at 54 and 115 specifically. So the increased emphasis on that measure has contributed to their performance this year.
That good performance, Mr. Sauter, can you give us a bit more detail on how it achieved that status?
Yes. I mean, we've been traveling around the world talking about our rankings in countries, many countries around the world. I've visited both Singaporean institutions earlier this year, and there is evidence of innovation across both institutions. Many of them very focused on operational sustainability, cutting-edge research to focus on some of the key sustainability problems, and elevating and improving the student experience, remaining an attractive destination for international students. I think the attractiveness of Singapore as a destination, as well as its institutions, is a key dimension. Singapore tends to perform well in our best student cities rankings that comes out at a different time of the year, speaking to aspects of safety and the environment and the cosmopolitan nature of the city.
Mr. Sauter, thank you very much for your thoughts this evening. Mr. Ben Sauter there from the QS World University Rankings.